Good day everyone, I am Jovi and Geraldo, a BS in Math 3A. For today's video, we are going to discuss the basic concept on special and inclusive education. These include the similarities and differences of these two educational systems. Also, the role of the teacher in dealing with those students with disabilities. So now, let's get started. The adoption of an inclusive education approach in the hearts of the country's educational system is mandated by the 1987 Philippine Constitution, the Child and Youth Welfare Code, or the PD 603, the Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act of RA 7610, the Early Years Act or the RA 10410, the Enhanced Basic Educational Act or the RA 10533, the Magna Carta for Disabled Persons amended by RA 9442, and the Policies and Guidelines in Special Education. So, by the effort of our Philippine government and any other agencies, they implemented many laws that will protect the rights to education of every children, that they must acquire the basic education. This also ensures that the child with or without disabilities couldn't ever discriminated, bullied, and abused inside the classroom. As a beginning teacher, your performance appraisals will be based on the set of standards among its 7 domains. The third is devoted to diversity of learners, where its emphasis is on the central role of teachers to establish environments responsive to learner diversity. So, teacher plays a significant role in the teaching learning process of every learner. In the PPST or the Philippine Professional Standard for Teachers, diversity of learners was included in its 7 domain. This set of standards provide a clear information of what teachers should know, be able to do, and value to achieve competent, improve student learning outcomes, and eventually quality education. Teachers really stand a big role in establishing good environment that is responsive to learner diversity. The succeeding lessons will tell you some terminologies regarding disability and inclusive education that will highlight the foundation of equity and collaboration. So, as we go through our discussion, we will encounter different forms of disability that either belongs to inclusive or in special education, which values diversity and the unique contribution each student brings to the classroom. This is our objective for today. At the end of the discussion, you are expected to A. Discuss the basic concept of inclusive and special education. B. Can demonstrate understanding of the basic concept of inclusive and special education, and C. Analyze the basic concept of inclusive and special education. Now, what is inclusive education? Is it the same as special education? In what ways these two terms similar or different from each other? Without further ado, let us define inclusive education. This is also called as inclusion. It is education that includes everyone, with non-disabled and disabled people, including those with special educational needs. They are learning together in mainstream schools, colleges, and universities. So, this system rejects the use of special school or classroom to separate students with disabilities from students without disabilities. This means that all students can be able to participate in student government together, and they all attend and enjoy the same sports meet and plays. According to UNESCO, inclusive education is seen as a process of addressing and responding to the diversity of needs of all learners through increasing participation in learning, cultures, and communities, and reducing exclusion from education and from within education. The goal is that the whole education system will facilitate learning environment where teachers and learners embrace and welcome the challenge and benefit of diversity. Within an inclusive education approach, learning environment are fostered where individual needs are met and every student has an opportunity to succeed. It promotes inclusive education system that remove the barriers limiting the participation and achievement of all learners, respects diverse needs, abilities, and characteristics, and that eliminate all forms of discrimination in the learning environment. UNESCO works with government and partners to address exclusion from and inequality in education. Inclusive education is a real implementation of the basic human rights to education. It is not only about attaining universal access to education, but universal access to meaningful and purposeful knowledge and learning for all. Although the context in every country and region is unique, we all share common concerns in education regarding justice, equity, and peace. Students need to acquire the competencies and appropriate qualification for life in an ever-changing and increasingly plural and interdependent political and economic landscape of the 21st century. This inclusive education enhances the human rights to education, not just for those normal children, but also to those with disabilities. This aim to have justice, equity, and peace for everyone in education, whatever you are is. Students must be given the training they need in order to be competent and become interdependent politics who will serve the country when time comes. An important element of inclusive education involves that all teachers are prepared to teach all students. Inclusion cannot be realized unless teachers are empowered agents of change with values, knowledge, and attitude that permit every student to succeed. Despite their differences in teacher standard and qualifications, education systems are increasingly moving away from identifying problems with learners and toward identifying barriers to learning. In order to enhance student knowledge, skills, and attitudes, teachers must be first prepared to teach the student. He or she must acquire enough knowledge, values, and attitude that will lead to every student's success. Inclusive education is the core principle of the K-12 basic education program. This promotes the right of every Filipino to quality, equitable, culture-based, and complete basic education. Through inclusive education, all Filipinos will realize their full potential and contribute meaningfully to building the nation. This is in DepEd Order 21, Series of 2019. We all know that K-12 is implemented in order to prepare the student and will develop the student full potential and to be the savior of our country someday. Sabi nga ni Rizal, ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. Now, let us proceed to special education. Special education, also called special needs education, the education of children who differ socially, mentally, or physically from the average to such an extent that they require modification of usual school practices. Special education serves children with emotional, behavioral, or cognitive impairments or with intellectual, hearing, vision, speech, or learning disabilities, gifted children with advanced academic abilities, and children with orthopedic or neurological impairments. Kung ang inclusive education ay nakahalo ang mga may disabilities na estudyante sa mga normal, dito sa special education ay special person with disabilities alone. They were separated since they need full attention and support from the teacher. Ito na yung mga estudyante na hindi na kayang makipagsabayan sa mga non-disabled student, like those having cognitive impairments, with vision, speech, and or learning disabilities. Special education is designed to ensure that students with disabilities are provided with an environment that allows them to be educated effectively. The purpose of special education is to enable students to grow to their fullest potential by providing a free, appropriate public education designed to fit their unique and special needs. This was given to them para mabigyan sila ng sapat na effort, appropriate na ways para maging educated kahit differently abled sila. Also, teachers can act, think according to what suits for the student and must give the best environment for them. As you can see in the picture, there are types of special need there that are eligible for special education service. The first one is the specific learning disabilities, which give much percent. This is in blue. These are those children na mahirap makaintindi ng mga bagay-bagay, na mahina ang development ng kanilang utak. Seconded by the language or speech impairments with sky blue. Next is the intellectual disability, emotional disturbance, hearing impairments, and so on. These are all belong to special education services. These are the conceptualization of integration and inclusion. In separation, makikita natin na nakagroup ang normal students from with special needs students. Sa exclusion naman, nakagroup ang normal students while the special needs ay hindi. Sa integration, ay ang mga exceptional student ay pansamantalang tinuturuan sa mainstream classroom. While in inclusion, those with disabilities and normal students are both learning together in mainstream school. So, iyan po ang kaibahan ng integration and inclusion. Inclusive education is the most effective way to give all children a fair chance to go to school, learn, and develop the skills they need to thrive. Inclusive education means all children in the same classrooms, in the same schools. It means that real learning opportunities for groups who have traditionally been excluded, not only children with disabilities, but speakers of minority languages too. It is necessary for the specially disabled children to maintain the pace in the learning process with the children that do not have any special needs, as they have the right to fulfill the requirements and explore their own potential regardless of any disability. The concept of special education mainly focuses on the designing of educational structure that has the potential to overpower the disadvantages of any disability, along with helping the children to get quality education. Education is very important for every student and is the way to progress their development, learning, and socialization. Inclusive education provides opportunities to learn about and accept individual differences, lessening the impact of harassment and bullying. Develop friendship with a wide variety of other children, each with their own individual needs and abilities. Special education is of great importance for children with learning disabilities because it gives them the opportunity to get quality education in line with their unique needs. Special education enables every student to gain a high level of independence and reach their full potential. That's the end of our video for today. I hope you learned something, guys. Bye!